Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 215.
On Now You Know.
We're brought to you, as always, by our amazing Patreon patrons. If you want to help support the show and also get some great perks, then head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow.
All right, so get ready for another fun-packed Tesla Time News sponsored by our friends at Lesser Evil, the healthy snack company.
Yeah, you might need some snacks to sustain yourself through this episode. Remember to stock up on Lesser Evil's Paleo Puffs, organic popcorn, and mini cookies.
All available on their website at lesserevil.com. And this week's episode is sponsored by Blinkist.
Blinkist has over 3,000 nonfiction books that you can read in a blink.
And here's the thing. My problem with books isn't that there aren't enough of them. My problem is that I don't have enough time to read them.
Yeah, like Carl Sagan said, the trick is to know which books to read.
Right. When I go online searching for my next book, I end up spending more time reading reviews and making lists.
And in that much time, you could have just blinked a whole book.
Yeah, see, with Blinkist, you can either read or listen to short blinks of a book in just about 15 minutes right here on their app. Yeah, I found that I can actually blink a book in the morning when taking a shower and then blink another one while going for a walk.
Wait, so you actually read 2 books a day?
Yeah, in fact, I just finished Limitless by Jim Kwik this morning. And at first, I thought it was like cheating. But actually, if you think about it, after you read a book, do you remember every single page?
No, you're right. After you read a book, you just usually understand the concepts that the author was trying to convey. And if you blink the book, you get to that same point, but way quicker than 2 weeks of like...
Yeah, the first 100 people who use our link are going to get unlimited access for 1 week to try out Blinkist.
You'll also get 25% off if you want to try the full membership.
And the 7-day trial is completely free. You can cancel at any time during that period. So Tesla's latest over-the-air update, 2020.40.7, has improved the range of existing Model Ys from 316 miles to 325 miles.
Wow, that's a 2.8% increase.
Tesla said your car's range has increased with new software that improves the efficiency of the motors and the climate control systems. Note, these changes do not impact acceleration or overall climate control performance.
Interesting.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a nice upgrade to have. I don't think it's going to ever be make or break, but it could definitely alleviate some range anxiety.
I'm just saying, that's for existing Model Ys. They didn't have to do anything other than some software changes. And the Model 3 has gotten an upgrade. We reported last week on the Model 3 getting some new upgrades and features. Well, Tesla has now made it official on its website.
New Model 3s will have the new heat pump.
Yeah, the Octavalve heat pump.
It'll have a powered liftgate trunk.
Just like the Model Y.
Which I'm very happy with. New metallic finish steering wheel.
Wait, what is that?
I think it's that lower section, or it's the Tesla T. I don't know. I don't think
it looks like a slight change. Yeah.
Okay. But it should apparently be a heated steering wheel now. So the one thing that everyone seemed to care a whole lot about, and I've gone from a heated steering wheel to a non-heated steering wheel. It's a nice to have, but I haven't.
From the Leaf to the Model 3.
Well, the thing with the Leaf was I couldn't turn on the air conditioning or my range would drop to 40 miles in the winter. So the heated steering wheel was a must because it was 36 degrees in the cabin of my Leaf. In the Model 3, I think it's, I turn on the heat. These new Model 3s also have that new console design that we talked about last week, and the new 20-inch Uber turbine wheels.
And according to Electrek, they're bringing back the auto-dimming mirrors. So I guess they took them away for a while?
I don't know. Mine had auto-dimming mirrors.
And arguably, an even more important feature here is in the long range, a 30-mile range increase from 323 miles to 353 miles.
And that's not the only Model 3 getting a range increase. The Standard Range Plus is now 263 miles, up from 250. That was what the mid-range was.
Oh, so what did you get again?
I got the Lemur, the limited edition mid-range Model 3, and it had a 260-something mile range.
Oh, so you're a little salty about that now?
I'm a little salty, but I did get better audio.
And you got the full federal tax credit.
And I got the full federal tax credit, so I can't complain too much.
And Model 3 Performance is now got 315 miles of range, up from 299, and they got about a 0.1 second increase in their 0 to 60 time, now brought down to 3.1 seconds for the 0 to 60.
Which is pretty impressive.
And not to be outdone, the Model Y got a range increase, so Tesla's updated the range of all the Model Ys on their website. The Model Y long-range dual motor now has 325 miles, up from 316.
So that's that same software upgrade. They didn't have to do anything with Model Ys rolling off the line to do that.
And the Model Y Performance now has 303 miles, up from 291.
So with all these range increases, I mean, they must have had to put more batteries in there, and they must have had to, increase the price of the cars, because range ain't cheap.
No, the price is unchanged on the Model Y.
So you're getting more range for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And the same battery.
Yeah.
Which also, I would like to point out, means that you now have a more efficient car.
Yeah. They just increased the efficiency for no extra cost and without having to do anything that costs Tesla more money.
Right. Normally, when you buy a car, it doesn't get more efficient unless someone smashes the wing mirrors off your car. It's the only time that really happens.
The only weird thing here is that on the website, Tesla shows that the Model Y is still selling with the old console, not the new one that the Model 3 is getting.
Yeah, I mean, that switch might happen at some point. Again, it's not the most critical change in the world. And maybe they're waiting to see how the Model 3 does.
Tesla owner Silicon Valley tweeted any updates on the Model Y 7-seater.
Elon said, starting production on 7-seater next month, initial deliveries by early December. So some Christmas presents for people. And hey, Tesla Time News is brought to you by ecoware.us. And there's a very special Halloween code. It is spooky season, and you get 10% off all orders over 2 items until Halloween.
Yeah, and there's some Halloween shirts you can go get if you'd like.
And just to remind everyone, we carbon offset the manufacturing, the shipping, and life cycle of your purchase, which means the life cycle actually means when you wash it. So that's actually carbon neutral.
And then we plant a tree for every order,
making it carbon negative.
Lucid has finally unveiled its base price Lucid Air. The Air at $77,400 before incentives.
Wow. So that puts it at $69,900 after incentives. So, I mean, for a 406-mile range car, I think some people might be thinking of switching to that.
Well, I mean, it's not coming out until 2022.
Oh, I thought it was coming out now.
No, you're thinking of the Air Dream Edition and the Grand Touring Editions, which cost $169,000 and $139,000 respectively, and are coming out in Q2 of 2021.
Oh. So that's a bit pricier. But still, the Air costs less than Model S.
Does it, though? Because last Tuesday, Tesla lowered the price of the Model S Long Range Plus to $71,900, a price cut of $3,000.
That's awesome, but that's still more than the Lucid Air after the $7,500 tax credit.
But then Elon tweeted a day later on October 14th, "The gauntlet has been thrown down. The prophecy will be fulfilled. Model S price changes to $69,420 tonight."
Wow, $69,420. I wonder why he chose that price. So that's over $5,500 cheaper.
Yeah. And the Model S Performance got a price cut too, from $94,990 to $91,990. And so Kristen asked, will the Model S have third row option again?
And Elon said, you never know.
So are they talking about the reverse seats in the trunk?
Made for kids, but is right in the crumple zone of the car. I'd never really liked them. I thought it was cute when I first saw it, and I was like, oh, that's fun for your kids until you get into an accident.
Get a Model Y, or something else. Or a Model X.
Like there's,
you know what I mean? Like if you need the extra seats.
And it's so weird.
Yeah.
Last week we reported that the Model X Performance got a range increase from 305 to 341 miles, and the long-range dual motor got a range increase from 351 to 371 miles.
Now Tesla is giving the Model S Performance a range upgrade from 348 to 387 miles.
And the Model S Long Range Plus still stays at 402 miles.
But Tesla has removed their 7-day return policy.
So just to be clear, what was their 7-day return policy?
So Tesla said, owning a Tesla vehicle means you are driving one of the most advanced, best performing, and safest vehicles available. We are confident that you will feel great about your new vehicle, and so are giving you time to experience and enjoy your new Tesla. Subject to the terms and conditions of this policy, if you are unhappy with your vehicle, you may return it to us within 7 calendar days. So basically, as Elon tweeted out a few times, buy the car. If you're unhappy for pretty much any reason, within 7 days, return it. Get your money back.
So now it looks like the policy has been removed from their website. Returns will now have to go through the service department. So there is a method to return your car, but it's not going to be as simple as just like, here's the keys. I want my money back.
And I mean, I guess the question I have is, why did they institute it in the first place?
I think this all comes down to context. Back when Tesla implemented this 7-day return policy, they were in the middle of Model 3 production hell. Some Model 3s were coming off the production line just fine. Some of them had some glaring errors that some people really cared a lot about and would either be kind of clogging up service centers with like, I want my car replaced, which isn't good when you have people picking up their brand new cars, or you had people going to the service centers and being like, I need to fix this. What can happen? And the press had picked up on this, that there were problems. And so people were worried. And they were like, oh, maybe I should not buy my Model 3. But of course, Tesla wanted those sales as soon as possible. So you implement this 7-day return policy. It alleviates the worry from the consumer being like, okay, if I show up and they, give me a car with a missing wheel on it, I can return it that day at the dealership or when I drive home and figure out, oh, that's what was scraping the whole way. However, we're in a completely different Tesla world than we were before. And Tesla is making much better cars. There's a lot less quality issues, especially for Model 3. They don't need to offer this 7-day return policy anymore. They've gotten their delivery and service centers up to the point where those things can happen more smoothly than they were before.
So this is super exciting. Elon tweeted out limited full self-driving beta releasing on Tuesday next week, as promised. That's tomorrow. This will at first be limited to a small number of people who are expert and careful drivers. And then Teslarati published this article about why Tesla's date-specific releases are spelling trouble for competing car companies. And this is a big deal because I think a lot of car companies are saying, we're going to have autonomous cars in 2025. No big deal. Tesla's not ahead of us. But those are years away. Whereas Tesla is saying, we have it tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow.
Well, okay, it's not going to be full self-driving. This is just the latest update. This is the rewrite that Elon has been talking about for quite a while now. It's the rewrite where basically they're going to be stitching together all of the car's cameras, and that's going to allow them to identify things no matter where you are around the car. It's not going to have to be like, oh, what's this? So I think that is what's coming out tomorrow. It's not going to be that your car is going to drive up to you in the parking lot tomorrow and be like, where would you like to go, master?
But as Elon said here, with full self-driving, we got stuck in a lot of local maximums, which wasn't clear until we hit the ceiling. This time, it's right. So I think you're right. I think when it first rolls out, it's not going to be noticeable to most people that it's any different. But under the hood, the code is completely different, and it's going to start to be able to do what Elon wanted it to do all along.
I just don't want people to get their hopes up thinking that the car is going to be able to drive itself tomorrow. It will in the same way that it was yesterday, in that autopilot will work probably in the same way.
It might have taken a step back, just to be honest.
Definitely.
We're implementing new software which might not be as good until it learns.
Right. There might be some bugs that we're going to find. But again, it's great that the cars can be updated. So that way you're not just like, oh, is that one of those 2020 Model 3s? Yeah, they all got those autopilot problems. Too bad they can't fix it. It's not like that. Tesla can roll out updates to all of its fleet at any time.
And I don't think most people understand this. And Earl of Frunkpuppy shared this chart, and he said, last place Tesla releasing full self-driving beta next Tuesday. Elon said, this graph appears to be upside down. So Pope of Muscanity said, fixed it for you. Elon said,
thank you, much more accurate. So this graph that you were seeing from Earl of Frunkpuppy, he didn't make it. Those are the analysts.
Right.
That's what the analysts think. They think that Tesla is dead last out of all of these other car manufacturers. And you might be saying like, okay, but GM has a Cruise, so that's really cool. But let's just look into the middle. But I mean, PSA, Jaguar,
yeah,
they're ahead of Tesla. They don't have the same features.
It said they're contenders on this chart. They're not even contending.
So I mean, analysts have been getting Tesla wrong, especially with full self-driving. And I think that this kind of goes back to local maximums, which we're going to talk about more on Patreon bonus story.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about one of Waymo's first drives. So the Court of Appeal in California on September 22nd upheld the LA County Superior Court jury verdict that found Ford acted with malice, oppression, or fraud by deliberately concealing known defects in its Power Stroke diesel engine. The engine was used primarily in over 1 million Super Duty trucks from 2003 to 2007.
So what are we talking about a Ford lawsuit for?
Well, remember we did an in-depth recently on Ford and where they're going to be in 5 years? Bankrupt. And one of the reasons we gave was the culture at Ford, and I think that this case shows why. The plaintiff, Charles Margison, used internal Ford documents to prove in court that Ford knew its diesel engines were bad and put them in heavy-duty pickup trucks anyway for years. The case revealed Ford emails and documents that proved that Ford knew this engine was defective, and yet instead of trying to fix the engine and help customers and keep their reputation intact, Ford chose to keep selling the engine for years.
So what was wrong with this engine? It was polluting a lot or something like that?
No, it broke down a lot. As Margison said, I bought my truck new. It must have broken down a couple dozen times, and the turbo even blew up. I started carrying spare hoses with me and leather gloves because everything was super hot, and I had to repair it myself on the side of the freeways.
Wow. So wait, they were selling this engine for more than just 1 year?
Yeah, they sold it for years and years.
And they were selling it even after they knew that the engine had problems?
Yeah, internal Ford documents showed that Ford officials knew that this engine had problems. They were paying out millions and millions. In fact, they paid out over $1 billion in warranty issues on this engine.
So then why didn't they just stop selling it?
Well, because Ford made $60 billion selling these trucks. So I think what happened was Ford had meetings where they're like, we spent $1 billion, but we made $60 billion.
And so the bean counters just sort of sat down and were like, well, yeah, you're going to be ruining the lives of over 1 million people who are going to have to, break down on the side of the freeway. But we are going to be saving some more money just by making this crappy engine.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes to why I'm so sure that Ford does not have the culture to innovate. I mean, first of all, we pointed out in depth, they don't have electric cars, but this shows why. They're so focused on bean counting and just one quarter result after the other, they're not thinking about the big picture. How about just focus on the fact that your customers now hate you?
And this isn't like some department that Ford doesn't care about. This is their truck department.
Yeah.
I mean, they should be saying like, how can we make the best trucks? Because we're Ford and we make trucks. Pretty much exclusively because we don't make any other kind of sedan except for the Mustang because it's a good brand. Like, that's their thing.
Yeah.
Why would you be making crappy trucks? Mind-boggling.
All right, so it looks like everyone's getting into skateboards.
Dad, you're like pretty late on this one.
What are you talking about?
I mean, Tony Hawk, he was doing stuff in like the 90s.
Tony Hawk?
Yeah, skateboarding. Dude.
No, I'm talking about electric powertrains.
What?
The skateboard, the thing that makes up the powertrain of the car.
Got to be a little bit more specific, man.
So Israeli startup REE unveiled last week its 3 new fully electric modular platforms, the P1, the P2, and the P4. CEO and co-founder Daniel Barrell said, "Our modular platform is set to revolutionize electric mobility, and as we demonstrated today, the journey is well underway. Our platform provides the perfect blank canvas for our customers on which to build EVs tailored to their needs, whether it's a fully autonomous last-mile delivery vehicle, a spacious yet compact urban shuttle, or a flexible delivery truck with higher load capacity on a smaller footprint."
So you're going to be like skateboarding on these skateboards?
No, this is the powertrain. You build a car body on top of it.
Oh, okay. So you build the... Okay, gotcha.
And I mean, so basically the idea here is this is the guts of the car. So an auto company can come along, design whatever they want on top of it, and that can become their branded car.
I gotcha.
But REE isn't the only company making skateboards.
Right. There's like Element, Foundation, Eastern...
No, EV skateboards.
Oh, right. Okay. Whoa. You got to be more like specific.
Foxconn, the Taiwanese tech giant, is also throwing their hat in the ring. Its platform called MIH would be an open platform, meaning any car maker could use the platform to make their cars. And they think that the MIH platform can capture 10% of the EV market by 2025, some 3 million cars by their estimates.
So they think that there's going to be 30 million EVs by 2025.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you see how the curve is changing?
But these two companies, REE and Foxconn, they aren't going to be car manufacturers in the traditional sense. Like, you're not going to go down to the Foxconn dealership and say, "Hi there, I'd like to buy a car today," because they they're not going to be selling you that.
Well, it's kind of like our last story on Ford. I mean, Ford bought the engine from Navistar, put it into their Ford truck. It was a Navistar engine. This would be a Foxconn or an REE powertrain in your whatever, Buick LeSabre.
So whatever car company would be using these platforms, if indeed they are, they're just like put the seats, the steering wheel, and the lights and a box.
Right.
Whatever shaped box makes you happiest.
Right.
And then you'd just plonk that right on top of the powertrain.
I guess so. Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line.
Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners.
And the 3D configurator allowing you to visualize the Cybertruck in any color, wrap, and logo both on screen and in augmented reality. So NIO, the luxury Chinese EV manufacturer, just announced that they have completed their 1 millionth battery swap on October 5th, twice as many as on May 25th. NIO has also increased the number of its battery swap network locations to 155.
How come I've never seen one of their battery swap locations?
Have you been to China lately?
No.
That's why you haven't seen them. They're in China.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a Chinese company.
Okay, gotcha.
The cumulative mileage of all NIOs now exceeds 620 million miles, or 1 billion kilometers. One NIO EV has already done 500 battery swaps. Now, what I found out doing the research for the story is that the Chinese government offers a no upper price limit subsidy to battery swap EV models in China until 2022. So this might be one reason why NIO has been doing so well, because you can buy the luxury car and get the entire subsidy. NIO also started offering a battery as a service model in August, which splits the ownership of the car and the battery.
So NIO owners who choose this option can choose different size batteries from 70 to 100 kilowatt hours for different needs. And they pay based on the size on a monthly basis.
I kind of like this model, actually, because if you're going to be doing a lot of city driving for the next month or so, then you just get a small battery, you pay less. And then if you're planning a long trip, for vacation, you put in the bigger battery.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go a little bit more extreme. Instead of a 70 kilowatt hour battery, you might even be able to go lower down to 50, 40. You could even do 20 if you were, absolutely, I'm a city person until I need to go upstate. It's really interesting because that would mean that you could build smaller battery packs and still have a vehicle that was capable of doing long ranges.
Yep.
It's just that this long range battery pack would be only used for long distance trips. The downside of which is that you need to have enough long range packs for Thanksgiving when everyone's traveling all at the same time. But I think that it's interesting, especially when you're battery constrained, which pretty much every company on earth is.
And what's interesting here is that Tesla tried this model, right? They had the battery swap idea years ago. Turns out they don't really need it. But here's my question. Would this be a good idea for traditional auto manufacturers here in the United States?
I think that this could be one way to catch up to Tesla. I think that this kind of has this imaginary leg up on Tesla where traditional manufacturers could go like,
don't waste all your time sitting at the charging station. You can drive in and get a new battery and off you go.
And I don't think that that's necessarily like the best solution, but it would be different than Tesla. So instead of everyone just being like, well, they're just copying Tesla and I could just have Tesla because Tesla is the best, you would say, oh, but this is a different thing. It might fit my needs a little bit better.
Also, battery swaps means that most owners don't have to worry about new technology. They can just be like, oh, when the new battery comes out, I have access to that.
And it also allows the car company or whoever owns the battery to use it for battery storage when it's in the charging location, because you have to charge up the battery when it's sitting there. You may as well use it as a power pack, charge it up during the day and deplete it at night with solar energy, whatever you wanted to do there. And then, when the new technology comes along, you can recycle those batteries way easier than having to trash a bunch of cars.
Yeah, I want to keep my eye on NIO to see how it's working for them, because this might be a cool idea moving forward. All right, we got our buddy JB in France reporting on Ludovic's Tesla adventure.
Salut, je m'apprête à partir une semaine avec ça sur le dos.
This is Ludovic, a French YouTuber with over 200,000 subscribers, well known for series such as YouTube vs French TV or A Day in the Life of, airline pilots, TV anchors, or even the French equivalent to the White House press secretary. But that's not why we talk about him today. This is...
Et avec cette... Ah ben vous la voyez pas, avec cette voiture. Alors, c'est pas ma voiture, j'ai pas de Tesla, mais je vous expliquerai.
During the lockdown, Ludovic had a crazy idea. He wanted to build himself the tools to be able to live stream on Twitch with multiple cameras, on the go, while visiting places. And you guessed it, this son of a gun did it. But that's not all.
tu vas voir, je vais t'expliquer l'histoire. Ton message, ton mail ne pouvait pas mieux tomber.
This was Tesla on the phone, about to offer him a Model 3 to road trip to anywhere he wants to. And that's how he ended up live streaming on Twitch from a Tesla Model 3 in Italy. It was pretty fun watching him discover the ins and outs of Teslas, how to supercharge, how to use the Tesla navigation map on the huge central monitor, and all the other features that we know and love. Ludovic has been live streaming this entire week, and you can watch the replays of his lives on Twitch and follow him there to come along on his next adventures. Now you know.
Now, some people might say, this live streamer only has 200,000 subscribers. Zach and Jesse, you have more subscribers than this guy. Yeah, but we're not speaking French. And I think that this is a great way to get into the French market. You have someone who's insanely popular in France, basically showing what it's like to do a Tesla road trip, one of the most fun road trips you can do, exposing everyone to it. And it's different. It's something that you really do need to have your hand held through.
Yeah.
Really great to just be like, oh, that's what it's like. I feel confident in buying one now.
Yeah.
So very smart for Tesla to offer this guy a car.
Yeah, thank you, JB, for that reporting. So Consumer Reports finds EVs really do save money.
What a surprise. Wow, I wouldn't have ever expected it.
So I think the point of this Consumer Reports article is to help you the next time you're sitting next to someone who's like, EVs? Yeah, I don't think so.
Thanksgiving, hello. I know that I know that you might not be sitting next to people, but it might be a lot easier to send them articles because you're going to be on Zoom and you'll be like, hang on, let me send this to you. Bam, hey, read that one. Chew on that turkey leg, huh?
Yeah, just check out this chart. It shows so effectively how much cheaper it is to operate an electric car. For instance, a Model 3 saves $15,000 over the BMW 3 Series or the Audi A4. And it showed that most EVs are $6,000 to $10,000 cheaper to operate than their comparable ICE vehicles.
Now, here's where it gets really exciting for owning a used EV, or specifically buying a used EV, because you can generally pick up a used EV in the $6,000 to $10,000 to $12,000 price range. And if you do the math, you might have just saved the price of the car over the life of the car because you're going to be spending less on fuel and maintenance. Now, obviously, if you buy a used EV, especially if it's a non-Tesla, those are the cars that have those lower prices. You might not have the same range, but if it's your secondary vehicle, if it's a vehicle that you just need for a few years, you're going to be saving a ton of money. And I can speak from experience on that. I bought a Leaf used for like $8,000, hardly spent a penny other than electricity, which again was about 4 times cheaper than gas.
So last week, Elon spoke to the Mars Society for about 40 minutes, and he talked about some pretty cool stuff.
He brought up his objective for what he's doing with SpaceX. It's to get a self-sustaining city on Mars before World War III.
Yeah. There were lots of questions about when the first Starship will get to Mars, and Elon said they'll likely reach orbit with Starship next year. He thought that they'll have high volume flights, refueling in orbit, and even getting to the moon in 2022. And then Elon made this very important point. He said he needs to have an exponential rate of innovation in order to have a fighting chance of uncrewed missions to Mars in 4 years. And I just want to stop here and talk about, a lot of Tesla fans are like, I don't really want to listen to him talking about Mars. But this is Elon, so he brings all of this to all of his companies. And if he's talking about wanting to have an exponential rate of innovation, think about how different that is than most companies where they're like, we just want to bring this to market next year. If your focus is bringing something to market, then that's your focus. Elon's focus is on how to innovate faster.
Right. It's an actual goal. A goal that has never been achieved by humanity, going to Mars. Obviously, we've sent things to Mars before, but he wants to send people.
Yeah, and not just a few to walk around on it and come back, people to live there forever.
And I think this kind of gets to an interesting point that we send a lot of people to business school. And what do they teach you in business school? Oh, they teach you how to run a business. Here's how you run a business effectively. But what they don't teach you is exponential rate of innovation.
No.
That is not like one of the core points of any business. It's just like, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to get something that makes you money and then keep doing that. Try not to change if you can. Just keep making whatever you're doing and then try and make it cheaper and worse until people stop buying it. Then you make it a little bit better. That's pretty much business school.
Right.
It's not, hey, forget business. let's talk about engineering.
Yeah.
You need the best engineers in the world, gosh darn it. You need them working on the hardest problems on Earth. You need to set goals that people think are impossible. Not just for a company, but for humanity as a whole.
Yeah, Elon said that physics has the best tools for critical thinking. And I want to end on this note, where the Mars Society asked Elon what we can do to help.
Anyone who is a strong advocate for Mars, I think this really makes a difference. A lot of times it's not even, people aren't even thinking about it. And, you can talk to people at a party or talk to friends and it's just not even a topic of conversation. So I think it could really help if everyone out there who thinks this is important for the future of humanity and consciousness as a whole, to make it part of what people are thinking about. Bring it up at parties and talking to friends and online. It's it should be a thing that we do. And I think it's worth, maybe 1% of our resources at least. And that's not going to fundamentally change things, quality of life. If we spend 1% of our resources, much less than healthcare, obviously, maybe probably even less than we spend on cosmetics, frankly, then that would be enough to make life multiplanetary. But we really need to make this a thing people talk about at least 1% of the time, and that would really matter. As we were talking about earlier, we need the will, which is we need a critical mass of people wanting to make it happen, and then we need the way. And SpaceX is going to try hard to provide the way. And then once we show that there's a way, probably there'll be other companies that also try to do it as well. So we need the will and the way. They can provide either. The will is extremely important. It makes a huge difference.
So our buddies Eli and Frost have come up with the 3rd edition of the Adventures of Starman series.
Yes, here it is.
Yeah, check this out. It's the Operation Darkstone episode.
I love how they have, big oil represented by this giant creepy purple guy. I just think that that's cute.
I don't want to give anything away, but it's really good. You should go check it out. It's a pretty good holiday gift idea.
And look what else we got. We got a little mini poster.
Nice. So check out this electric hatchback unveiled by Renault last week. The Dacia Spring Electric.
Whoa, that looks pretty cool. But Dacia? I don't know if I've heard that.
It's a sub-brand of Renault. It's one of their brands.
Oh, and they don't sell much in the United States, do
No,
they?
right. That's why I haven't heard of it.
Well, it looks great.
Okay, so just get ready. It has a low range. It's 140 miles, 225 kilometers of WLTP. So
Forget it.
Well, it's a small 33 kilowatt motor, a tiny 26.8 kilowatt hour battery, but it's only going to cost, get this, 10,000 euros or $12,000. It's going on sale in Europe in the spring of 2021.
Okay.
10,000 euros.
That's pretty, because you could buy like a used Leaf with a similar-ish range for a similar-ish price. It's basically the cost of a used EV and the range of a used EV. It's not bad.
No, I think it's a great urban vehicle.
Because again, I don't want to say that you can't, if you buy a car that has under a certain range, it's impossible to use. I've dealt with a 70-mile range car before, so, it's doable. It just might not be the only car that you own.
Also, Renault unveiled the Megane E-Vision electric hatchback. This one has a beefy 160 kilowatt motor, 60 kilowatt hour battery, 130 kilowatt DC fast charging, and 22 kilowatts of onboard charging.
So you think that one's going to cost the same as the Dacia?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then what is it?
What is what?
The price.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
They just unveiled it. It's just
Okay, so all right, but when are we expecting this car?
I don't know.
Why don't you look it up?
I did look it up. This is all they told us about it.
all right.
They're not giving us a date. They're not giving us a price.
Okay. All right. Well, so I guess that's just a little dream that we can have in our heads. But maybe it's coming. Who knows?
So the competition is heating up in China. It looks like there is only one car that can compete with the Tesla Model 3 in China right now.
Wow, it must be some amazing car. It's got to have some fantastic specs. If it can compete with the Model 3 in China?
Well, it has one pretty cool spec.
Okay, what is it?
Well, we've told you about this car before. It's the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV. It is priced...
I don't remember that one.
No, we've talked about it before.
Okay, so what are its specs? What's the coolest spec about it?
Its price.
Okay.
It's priced at $4,300 to $5,800 depending on options.
$43,000. That's...
No. $4,300.
No.
Yes. That's why it's selling so well. They produced over 20,000 units in September. Now, as you know, Tesla doesn't release monthly sales numbers, so we don't know exactly how many made in China Model 3 Teslas sold in September yet. But we do know that Tesla sold 11,811 Model 3s in August. So it could be neck and neck here between these two cars. And what I want to point out is the important takeaway from this story. Currently, Model 3 has 13% of the Chinese EV market.
So you're saying that the Mini EV is in the same market as the Model 3?
Well, it's a four-wheel vehicle. It's a car. It's an EV.
It's a golf cart. Are you kidding
No,
me? We don't talk about the United States and we say like, oh, well, what if you include golf carts? Tesla isn't doing that great. Look at Club Car. They're selling so many golf carts.
No,
wow.
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, this is 1/10 the cost of the Model 3, and yet we're comparing them. But
like
that's kind of my point, is that 1 year ago, Tesla had 0% of the Chinese market because they weren't there yet. Now, 1 year later, with only one model, the Model 3, they've captured 13% of the largest car market in the world. Now, Model Y is going to come online soon. Where do you think Tesla's going to be next year?
At least double, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you've got to
and I agree. I wouldn't even count this $4,000 car in the competition. But even if you do, they're going to be having a huge stake in a market where Ford, GM, Toyota, all these other big car companies have been there for decades, and they never did anything like this. And now our buddies Robert and Andreas have an update on Giga Berlin.
Hi guys. Hi. Have fun with our new update from Giga Berlin. Here is an overview of Tesla Giga Berlin. This is the paint shop. It will be the most modern paint shop in the world. Elon has already announced that many new paint colors will await us. The foundations of the stamping are getting bigger and bigger. And huge foundations are also being built at the casting. The switchyard looks almost finished. The construction work on the January assembly and seed production have made huge progress. And more containers are being set up for the workers. The building for the drive units has even got the first windows. And now, back to Zach and Jesse. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much. I mean, look at the progress that's happening there.
Yeah, if you thought that Giga Austin could catch up, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't have high hopes for Berlin. I thought that everything was going to be
Slow and monotonous.
I mean, they're building, I wouldn't say as fast as China, right? Because they started this at the beginning of this year. But I mean, 80% the speed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I am too.
Color
Yeah.
me impressed.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the update. Go check out Wolfpack Berlin YouTube channel for regular updates. So you remember we recently went and visited SparkCharge. That's that startup company making the portable battery to charge EVs.
Yeah, we filmed an episode and interviewed their CEO, Josh Aviv. I remember that they were getting ready to travel to Las Vegas to film an episode of Shark Tank, right?
Yeah, in fact, they were on Shark Tank's season premiere that aired last Friday.
So did they get greenlit?
Yeah, Mark Cuban and Lori Grenier offered $1 million for a 10% stake and 4% advisory shares and 2 board seats on their company.
So if you want to learn a little bit more about SparkCharge, you can definitely check out our interview where we talked to the CEO.
So Police Scotland, as their police force is called, recently bought 180 Hyundai Kona EVs. Hyundai has been having production issues, can you say battery limited? And so the 64 kilowatt hour battery Konas won't all be delivered until March of 2021.
Deputy Chief Constable Will Kerr said Police Scotland's fleet strategy is highly ambitious, with the aim of having the UK's first ultra-low emissions blue light fleet by 2030.
And I want to point out here that police departments in Spain and Switzerland also have recently bought Hyundai Konas as police vehicles. But But here's the issue. I think a lot of police forces feel very comfortable with this shaped vehicle for their police force.
Right.
But if you can't build them fast enough, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad that they order 180 cars, and it's like, whoa, 180?
Slow down there.
Where am I going to put all these
So
papers?
let's just talk about this. Okay, I think we got one battery over
Right.
there.
180.
Where's the other battery?
That's not that many.
No.
And I know that there's a super high demand for Hyundai Konas, but that's not an unreasonable amount.
No.
The thing that I'm worried is, like, what happens when you need something fixed?
Yeah.
What happens when you need a replacement battery pack? Is it going to be like, well, that's going to be about 6 months? I assume your police officers can just walk a beat for that time period. Like, what's the plan there? But I want to say, hats off to Police Scotland for actually trying to make a difference. I think that that's a really good idea.
No, it's great, and that's why we included the story. Yeah, but going back to Hyundai, though, if this problem had happened to Tesla, you would have never heard the end of it if it was like, oh, so they can't come out with 180 cars until March?
Yes.
Like,
it would be the laughing stock. For 3 months, we would just be talking about this. It would just be like, can you believe it? Tesla can't make enough cars to give to just a little police department.
Well, and here's the thing. Tesla is production limited. Like, that is their limiting factor, is how fast they can make the cars. It's just that they figured out how to make them fast.
And a lot of people sent us this story this week, a very interesting story, this Police Scotland thing. And hey, if you want to share this clip with your friends, if you didn't want to share them an article that you know that they're not going to read, you can head over to our Clips channel where we will have this story along with many of the other ones that we covered in the news this week. And you can share it with your friends in a little bite-sized clip that you know that they're actually going to watch.
All right, it's time for Into the Future.
Escape into the future.
So we've told you before about the Boring Company building a tunnel in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And that's really cool, right? It's 1 mile on their campus. It gets you there faster than you can possibly walk or take a car. But look at this, Jesse. Check out this map.
Wow, but is that the whole strip?
That's the whole strip all the way to the airport. And this just leaked at a Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority Board of Directors meeting where Steve Hill, the president and CEO, shared that Musk's tunneling company recently submitted its special use permit application to the city of Las Vegas and intends to file a land use or design review application in Clark County shortly. These are the first steps in the process in constructing the system across Las Vegas.
Now, we talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating. Building this in Las Vegas is probably the smartest thing that Boring Company could have done, because what is the one city where lots of people visit all the time? Las Vegas.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to be true this year, but it probably will. And for the future, lots of different mayors association meetings and lots of different, corporate meetings. When people see this, I think that they're going to say, oh, this is different than a subway. I understand how this could be implemented. And I think people will also be talking about, hey, last year, none of this was here.
It gives you access to all the technologies we talk about on the show. So it's not just a boring tunnel. It's also you're getting into a Tesla, which is an EV, which could only take place if it was electric, because if you got into a gas-powered vehicle, everyone would die. Then you're getting into an autonomous EV, so the thing is going to drive itself. And so everyone's going to get off the thing being like, oh my God, that was so awesome. Let's do it again.
And you were in Las Vegas anyway, so most of the people are going to be drunk, but they're going to be putting it on their social media where it's going to live there for a while, and people are going to see it, go, oh man, I want to go to Las Vegas. And also, is that a Tesla? Because I want a Tesla. And also, why is it in a tunnel? I'm going to look up the tunnel thing. What's this tunnel thing? Then they're going to go, oh, they're building tunnels under Las Vegas and it's alleviating traffic and they built it really quickly and it didn't cost that much money.
Exactly.
Hey, why don't we have this in our city? I'm going to go to my town meeting and I'm going to say, I want to have a boring tunnel in our town. And people are going to go, oh, what? Then they're going to have to go research because that person brought it up and they need to talk about it. It's a rolling stone, and it's so smart to put it in Las Vegas. It's going to be this huge thing. I'm super excited. I have one question. What the heck are those corners?
Corners?
You see the corners there on the map?
Yeah.
Sharp corners. Can't drive 125 miles an hour on those corners.
Oh, well, I think I can help you with that. So Kristen tweeted Elon this week, and she says, look at the EV vehicles entering the Boring Company tunnels via the elevators. How very cool, Elon. Vegas will showcase this for the world to see. And Elon said, we simplified this a lot. It's basically just Teslas and tunnels at this point, which is way more profound than it sounds. So I think the thing is, you go down, stairs or an elevator into a tunnel. you take a little side tunnel over to the main tunnel. So I think you're seeing where the stops are. So it looks like they're sharp turns. I think that the tunnel is going to be a pretty smooth oval or something. Holmar's catalog said, sounds sick. When is it going to open? Elon said, maybe a month or so. Some finishing touches are needed to be done on the stations. And then Jordan said, so is the Fallout themed party still in the works? And Elon said,
For sure. So that is a reference to Fallout New Vegas, which is a video game.
Now, Elon did tweet out a tweet that got removed shortly after he said it. And here's the tweet. He said, we will make a dense Tesla if it matters. Maybe just better to have more tunnels, though. There is no practical limit to tunnel count. Increased traffic due to induced demand is the second dumbest theory I've ever heard after homeopathy. Okay, so there's two things in this tweet. First, he's talking about a dense Tesla. What's that?
It's a Tesla that's really stupid. Just like,
Duh, I'm a Tesla.
no, I'm just kidding. It would be a bus. You can densely pack people onto whatever kind of vehicle it would be.
And that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to put a lot of people into individual Model X's. I think that would take too long.
And it's less efficient.
Right, but so why did he remove the tweet?
Well, because they might have something like that in the works. I think it's this glass thing that we keep saying. I mean, why would they keep showing it? It was in the first Boring Company stuff that we saw, that you'd have this shiny glass tube that you'd be shooting around in. I mean, it's kind of weird that it's glass. You're underground, so maybe it's not going to be glass, but something.
I think you could have ads.
It could just be like a cylinder or like just a brick shape with wheels on it. It doesn't have to look pretty. Maybe it just has a little wedge for aerodynamics in the front. And maybe you just have doors that enter in onto little one-person compartments.
So the second part of this tweet is about increased traffic due to induced demand is the second dumbest theory I've ever heard. What's he saying here?
Well, so there's this thing called induced demand. And what it is it generally comes up when you're adding like a lane to a highway or something like that. You add a lane to the highway, and then there's suddenly more traffic. And people are like, why is there more traffic? We added a lane to the highway. And it's a very complicated answer, but it has to do with, at least the claim is that more people say, oh, good, they added a lane to the highway. I'm going to drive into the city now instead of taking the non-existent train route. So they do that, apparently, and that creates more traffic. I think that what Elon is talking about is that there is going to be a limit to the amount of induced demand, and that usually when we're talking about large infrastructure projects, whether that be adding a lane to a highway or light rail that never happens, the pace of it is usually way too slow for the growth of a particular city. So you never actually ever catch up and run out of traffic.
But what is he talking about in this context? Is he saying that people are going to blame him for increased traffic in his tunnel?
No, I think what he's saying is if you do this right and build as many tunnels as you need, you will completely alleviate traffic, which is a good thing. But you'll do it because you will actually meet the demands of the city, as opposed to just saying like, well, we added a lane and there's still traffic, so that sucks.
All right, it's time for sunspots. So check this out, Jesse. This is Tesla's solar roof. Time lapse of it getting installed in 5 days on a roof in Auburn, Kansas.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never actually seen it being done. You roof it a lot differently than you do a normal roof.
Yeah, it's cool. You completely cover the roof in an ice and water shield, so it's completely weather tight. And then if you notice, there's no rail system like there used to be on the earlier versions. Basically, this roof is getting attached right there. And if you look closely, obviously there's a lot of cuts you have to make. Those are being cut in just, I guess, regular plain glass tiles that have no solar panels in them. This is a 4,000 square foot roof with a 15 kilowatt system, pretty big system. And I'm assuming it's one of the first they've done. It only took them 5 days. I got to imagine it's going to get faster as they get better at it.
Yeah. And I really like how they have this lifting dumpster thing. I mean,
yeah, it brings up all of your stuff and then you fill it with the refuse and it brings it back down.
I mean, I've done roofing and that would have been nice. Instead of putting a thing of shingles on your shoulder and climbing a ladder.
Thank you to Weddell & Sons Roofing Company for sharing this video with us. And if you're thinking about getting solar on your roof, but you've got more questions than answers, the team at Energy Pal are the energy geeks that help homeowners go solar for less.
But if you decide to go with the Tesla solar system, use our referral code and save $100, and you'll be helping us out here on the show.
All right, it's time for video contributor stories. Who do we got this week, Jess?
We have our friend Philippe in France.
Early September, the Club Tesla France organized a gathering over 2 days with the objective to visit Few Castle from the west suburb of Paris. We met at a supercharger in Orgeval and started to admire the modified Model 3 performance from Christopher before going to Saint-Germain-en-Laye. Saint-Germain is known for being the birthplace of Louis XIV, the one who built the Palace of Versailles. We then had a nice picnic in Maison Lafitte before driving west to Thoiry, where a wildlife park has been hosted for more than 50 years just outside the castle. In the evening, we had several activities, including a short race in electric go-karts. On Sunday morning, the famous Kit is welcoming us in Versailles. Another surprise made a well-noticed appearance. Inside the gigantic park, we had a demo of the well-known Easter egg. We saw a much older castle during the day in Chevreuse from the 11th century and had nice finger food in the park of Château de Breteuil, and I'll let you enjoy the aerial view. We couldn't split before a nice and original group photo. Now you know.
Well, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, it's I wish I could travel to France, but I guess if you live there, you just get to enjoy it.
All right, it's time for the Patreon bonus stories. And if you're new to the channel and you're like, what are they talking about? Well, if you head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow, you can help us out for as little as $1 a month, and you get to watch all of these Patreon bonus stories, which we're about to report on, which is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, considering that there are 4 Patreon bonus stories segments a month, and you're only paying $1 for it, so it's $0.25 per Patreon bonus stories, and there's multiple Patreon bonus stories in the Patreon bonus stories segment. It's a good deal. Just trust us. We're probably going to be spending an hour on Patreon bonus stories, so if we look different when we come back, that's why.
All right, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories. It's time for the shout-outs. We got a few more than normal this week. Who do we got?
We have Sonny,
Jay Bourgeois,
Jared L. Ferguson,
Michael DeGanis,
Byron P. Rutledge,
Brennan Keller,
Diallo Cantambu,
Digibyte Blockchain,
Joshka Brinkman,
Richard Roberts,
Thomas Martinez,
Erland Vitsand,
Jude Serrano,
Zinkfinger,
Jazzy Newbecksbox,
Alex Sanchez,
Hemibad,
Felicia Witrowski,
Brody Woolstenholme,
and Farm the Sun.
Thank you so much for supporting us. We can't do this show without you.
All right, it's time for Elon's tweets of the week. First tweet here is Electric Futures. They said, this is getting annoying now, Elon. Can we have a fix for this? Bus is speed sign 95% of the time.
I'm so glad I don't live in Europe. We don't put speed signs on the back of our vehicles. Elon said we face a tough dichotomy of applying resources to the old architecture or applying them to the new. It's not a question of money. If there was a great engineer factory, we would place a large order. Unfortunately, great engineers are very rare. This is solved in the FSD build. So the build that's coming out tomorrow. Apparently, it's solved. So
let's build a great engineer factory for him.
Yeah, I think it's called school. And clearly, we have a bunch of random engineer factories.
Yeah. Slashdot said software engineer catches intelligent bot posting on Reddit. Yeah, so this is kind of scary. I went to the Reddit page, and basically this bot has been posting about 1 post a minute, and they're like 6 paragraphs long and almost indistinguishable from humans.
And Elon said, okay, here we go.
And then Tesla Columbus, Ohio owners posted this. Last night, our member Jen Dunlap and her friend got hit by a drunk driver. They got hit head on by a wrong way drunk driver truck on a highway, both going 70 miles an hour plus. Jen credits Elon, Tesla, and her Model 3 for saving her life.
And just look at some of the pictures of this. that is an accident that you are very lucky to walk away from. Not a lot of cars would allow you to walk away from that.
Yeah. And then Tesla Club India said, hey, Elon, is there a Tesla India team working on the next year for sure scheduled Tesla entry? If so, is there a way for us and reservation holders to contact them? Our Tesla accounts do not have any customer care details as we are unable to select India as a country option.
Elon said, we'll release order configurator probably in January.
So this is big news because if you can order one from India, that means you're going to need service stations, you're going to need showrooms, you're going to need superchargers. So I think India, you're going to get those soon.
And where are they probably going to get these Teslas from?
China.
That's where I think they're going to get them, at least to start with.
Teslarati posted this article, Tesla production hell wasn't all bad. It resulted in a 10-year lead. And Elon said,
sheer magnitude of entire production system is hard to appreciate. Almost every element of production is more than 75% automated. Only wire harness and general assembly, which are less than 10% of production costs, are primarily manual.
I love that he revealed that most of what they're doing is automated. And this tweet exchange might back up our argument that Herbert Diess might be working for Tesla soon. Holmar's catalog said, software and autonomous driving, only those who master these disciplines have a future in the automotive industry. And that is a quote from Herbert Diess. So where does that leave VW? That's like Ice Cube saying the future of music is smooth jazz. And Kyle Kennedy says, Diess is like the lone voice of reason yelling into the abyss that is Volkswagen.
And then Elon said, Diess is doing his best to move in the right direction, but he is in a tough position with so many constituents to please. No way to make everyone happy. So I'm going to just make a prediction that Herbert Diess is going to move to Tesla and he's going to be in charge of the Berlin Gigafactory and he's going to take a bunch of his friends from Stuttgart and move them to Berlin.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Then Anton said, will Starlink dishes be deployable on high-speed moving objects like trains? It would be incredible if trains moving through the middle of nowhere finally could have stable, high-speed internet connections.
Elon said, yes, everything is slow to a phased array antenna.
So does this mean like airplanes and trains?
I think it would definitely mean airplanes and trains.
Could it mean cars?
That's the big question. I think that for a train or a plane, whatever sized phased array you're going to have on there, you could probably fit on a car. It's just a matter of sizing. I think that they're going to, Why would you have a satellite internet company and a car company if you weren't going to make the internet accessible from the cars, from your, I mean, come on.
And then Kim said, Elon, can we get an option to delete all Sentry footage at once? They tend to pile up and corrupt the card.
Elon said yes.
And Frank said, need option to delete all recent navigation points also corrupts and slows down the system.
Elon said, also system should auto-delete old data automatically by default. Now, I don't know. You should have to set up a pin to delete all of your, because otherwise someone would like smash into your car and be like, okay, and then delete.
Andy Phillips said, has Elon had spinal surgery? Mojo said, why? Andy said, he seems to have a scar on his neck that I also have. I'm curious to know if his was more effective than mine. Elon said, maybe I can be helpful. Had Mobi-C disc put in at C5, C6. However, first surgery failed to remove bone spur sticking into my spinal cord. Second surgery took care of it. Recommend using Yelp or other online reviews for doctors. Effectiveness varies widely.
Wow. When you think of doctors, Yelp is not the first thing that I think of, but I'm going to take Elon's word on this. Not that I go to a lot of doctors.
All right, it's time for Community Mail Time.
Community Mail Time.
So Hemibad wrote to us and said, so I had my first service appointment to try and fix the windshield washer on the driver's side, which was barely spraying and didn't do its job at all. First off, I was very happy to find out that they would come straight to my house because the nearest service center would require about 3 hours to go there and back, plus an hour or two if traffic is bad, plus the time to actually do the repair. Getting an appointment, picking a time that would work for me, and the whole process was really easy and convenient, all done quickly through the app. You certainly know that, but I pointed out because all of the bad experiences we hear regarding Tesla service. Second, the Tesla repair guy came in and I was seriously impressed by the whole experience. I needed one thing fixed, and he literally fixed about 8 things. Most were not actually physical, but more of a knowledge-wise matter. For info I didn't even know I was missing or to reduce the pain of problems I may have had in the future, e.g. that I should call them when it's time to change my wipers rather than buy some random wipers at the store. He must have stayed about an hour with me and I learned so much I wouldn't even know where to begin. He even gave me sound advice regarding the winter tires I'll need to buy soon and what to look for in mags. I know nothing about mags. Heck, he even left me his cell phone number and told me I should call him first rather than roadside assistance should I need anything, since chances are he would be able to help me faster. This whole experience was so far beyond anything I would have expected and so far beyond anything that we could get from any other car company. This is what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, they do go above and beyond. I'm sure there's problems as there are with any company, but with Tesla, they have mobile rangers, which what other car company has that?
Right. What other car company is going to come get you and tell you all sorts of things and fix your car for you? I don't know. And then our friends Jackie and Jessica just got their new Model Y. Beautiful.
All right, what are the results of the Patreon poll from last week?
So the question was, do you think that the Snake Charger will be implemented by Tesla? And pretty much everyone said that they would. The other majority was that they are going to come up with a different automated charging method. No one really agreed with me about the people. That's fine, because us 36 and me, we're all going to prove them wrong. And then there were 10 people who thought that there was never going to be full self-driving. So thank you for supporting us, but I really don't know why you are.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews, and these are sponsored by our friends at EvanX. The rapid growth of the Gigafactory in Germany is something Tesla owners are proud of everywhere. So in the month of October, EvanX wants to celebrate and invite the Tesla community to shop their first ever Oktoberfest sale. Experience limited time discounts on select products for Tesla Model Y, 3, S, and X at the link below.
Hello and welcome to the Dickinson, North Dakota Supercharger. This brand new 250 kilowatt supercharger is just off the highway, just a couple blocks north of I-94 if you're traveling east and west across the state. It's in the parking lot of the Pine Hills Mall. There's plenty of restaurants and stores around, a grocery store and coffee shop right nearby. So really handy location off the highway and really nice environment. Now I imagine most of this stuff will close overnight. So in the middle of the night you might need to stop and get a snack nearby and then come here to charge. The mall ownership is very excited to be hosting this supercharger. So it's great to have businesses that are all in on getting these chargers installed. There are some lodging options nearby. There's a Burger King, Jimmy John's, Qdoba, Cashwise Foods. Given the level of amenities that are nearby and easy access off the highway, I would give this supercharger a 10 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 at nighttime.
Hi Zach and Jesse, it's Simon from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. I'm here at the 8-stall, 250 kilowatt version 3 supercharger. I'm here charging my Model Y. The superchargers are just located off the 7-8 highway, pretty busy highway in Kitchener-Waterloo. We are here at the Kitchener Service Center, right here. It's soon to be a sales center, fingers crossed. And as far as food, there's not a whole lot around here, to be honest. There's a Burger King and a Harvey's down the road here, but it's a few minute walk away. Other than that, I would say the supercharger gets a 6 out of 10. Back to you, Zach and Jesse. Now you know.
Dear Zach and Jesse, this is Stefan and Oliver from Germany.
Hello.
Hello. And
we are at the new supercharger in Hermsdorf. It's a V3 supercharger. It came online just 1 week ago and it works.
We have here 12 stalls. In the near is a McDonald's and on the other side an Aral gas station and also
an erotic mart if you need it. I would rate it as a 6 out of 10. So you have only McDonald's if you want to eat something, but you don't have to go too far. So it's not really quiet here. You can't really go for a walk, but communities are available.
Bye. Now you know.
We're here at the destination charger at the Holiday Inn Express in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. So it's an 8 kilowatt charger, charged consistently overnight here. The rooms were also nice, so I recommend staying here. The charger is around to the side of the building, right near the entrance. That's the entrance sign right there, and then the front of the building is just around this way.
Thank you, everybody. I just love watching those.
Yeah, that's really great. And we got new superchargers in the world. So if you're worried, if you're like, uh-oh, I'm not going to be able to do a supercharger review, first of all, not true. Plenty of superchargers.
I think it'd be hard to catch up at this point.
And here is why, because there are more superchargers in the world. But it's great because you can actually charge them. So the first one is the 8-stall 150 kilowatt supercharger in Grosseto, Italy.
The 8-stall 250 kilowatt in Valdosta, Georgia.
The 12-stall version 3 in Baltimore at Canton Crossing, Maryland.
Number 552 in Europe is the 8-stall 250 kilowatt in Morisset, Norway.
The 8-stall 250 kilowatt supercharger in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Number 901 in the U.S. is the 8-stall version 3 in Lincoln, California.
And number 279 in China, 1,986 in the world is the 64-stall 145 kilowatt in Shanghai at the Gigafactory, China. Wow.
Now, there's actually one more supercharger location. This is a 20-stall, 8 version 2s, 12 version 3s. This is solar-powered in Hilden, Germany. It opened last Friday. It has 8 FastNed chargers, and this is just the first phase. There's going to be 114 charging stations from many different operators all planned. They have a cafe bistro with organic bakery, a planned vertical farming that'll have food growing there, vacuum cleaners you can borrow. It'll have 2 battery storage systems from Tesvolt that'll store power from the 336 kilowatt peak solar system, and 2 wind turbines.
What?
I mean,
why? I mean, it's awesome, but like who and why? And why is this so awesome?
Don't question it.
Don't question it. Best thing that's happened all year. Wow.
I definitely want a review.
I want many reviews from this site.
All right, it's time for our Patreon giveaway. We got a poster from Poster Envy of the rover on Mars, checking out sites for the new city that we're going to build, the sustainable city for all of humanity.
All right. And the winner is Joanne Lenstrom. We're going to be sending you this signed poster, and you've made it to the end of the show. And
I need a nap.
I definitely need a nap. You may have just watched a 1-hour show, but what you're not seeing is the Patreon bonus story that we did and all the times that we messed up, which means that we probably spent over 3 hours sitting in these chairs.
Why do we have these chairs again?
I don't know.
They're so uncomfortable.
They go to about mid calf, not calf.
I'm like
mid thigh.
I'm losing all the circulation in my body.
It's been good. Thank you.
Do you think like Tom Brokaw and Walter Cronkite sat in uncomfortable chairs?
I'm sure that's how you get good. Yeah, no pain, no gain. That's what they say. And thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button if you made it this far.
And thank you to all these people over here.
Yes.
These people are supporting the show and make it possible, so we don't have to worry about stupid YouTube ad revenue that goes up and down.
We don't have to be like,
Tesla caught on fire. Click this video. We'll give away $1 bajillion.
We don't have to do stupid things because you people are smart. That's so great. On the internet?
I know. That's kind of rare.
What's going on?
I think.
It's pretty crazy. Our Patreon is seriously full of a lot of smart people.
Comment down below if you can think of other sites that you go to where it's smart. Like, I know that like I go to Quora and that's kind of smart, but like, no? You're not feeling that? No?
Quora? What?
You get some smart answers there.
I'm not in high school anymore.
Okay,
I'm
well,
college
anyway,
anymore.
Post below if you can think of some other sites that
you're
are open to the public and are smart.
Don't comment. Comment on Patreon.
Okay.
Go to the Patreon bonus stories and answer that question. Yeah. I don't want to... Because look, you're a great person. But this... read some comments sometime. Like, scroll down beyond, like, the first 10. You're just gonna like... Why are you even
You just
here?
got through saying we're talking to smart people.
We are. I'm saying these people are...
Oh, those people. Yeah.
Become one of these people.
Yeah.
Just so we know who you are. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Who we know, so we know who to take with us to Mars.
Yeah, I need a nap. Good night. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.